Hey everyone, it is me, Bobby, and I am back with another video. So I did go to the salon today and I love it. She took off some inches from the bottom, and then she asked me if I didn't mind if she like curled it with the curling iron before I left, because they take pictures and things. So I told her, yeah, I don't mind. So it looked, of course the curls have fallen because my hair does not hold a curl. But yeah, she said she did something like a peasy, low light, highlight situation with the blonde. So she really didn't even have to touch my roots. So that when it comes in, there's not going to be like drastic changes because it's just like a whole lot of highlights and things. But I like it. I don't know if you can see the back. But yeah, that's how it looks. So it's so funny because my husband went to go see his mom in Chicago. So I had forgotten about the Ring doorbell, and he'll check it from time to time. So when I came home to him, like, oh, I'm on the Ring doorbell. So I quickly went in and like deleted some of the footage. Not that it's that serious, but But yeah, so come to find out that the salon that I picked was literally around the corner. I think it took like maybe not even 5 minutes to get there. I had passed it so many times. It's like one of those cute little salons that like sit in a little house. Real nice young girl. And it took a long time though. I was in there for probably close to 3 hours-ish. But she gave me a cut, she took off the ends, and she did something that's called like a texturizing something. I don't know, something she did. And yeah, as long as she didn't take off too much, because that was my concern. I don't like short hair on me. Not only that I don't like it on me, but I feel like if you have a short hairstyle, it's just a lot of maintenance, because my hair grows so quick. So for one thing, my face doesn't look good in a short style, so there's that. But if it did, you have to keep going back and getting it cut to look proper and like all that stuff. And yeah, and that's expensive too, not to mention. So it is getting ready to be Mother's Day weekend, and I want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers, or people who act like mothers. You didn't have to give birth in order to be a mother. There's a lot of people that I know that are mothers to people without ever giving birth. And then on the flip side of that, there's a lot of mothers who did give birth who really, aren't the best mothers. So I've always had like a love and hate relationship with Mother's Day. I love it for my children, I love being a mom and all of that. But as far as me and my mother, there's a lot of stipulation with, and I think it's gotten a little better now, but because people are finally opening up their eyes to abuse and narcissism and things like that. But back when we were raised up, it was always to honor your mom and your dad, and of course honor them, yes, but what that meant was just whatever you're dealt with, like that's what it is. You be quiet, and whether it be a good mom, a bad mom, a good father, a bad father, you sit, you obey, and you do. And there's a whole lot that I can say about my growing up. People had it worse, 100%, so it just, it wasn't the best. There was a lot of alcoholism, just a lot of, I basically, no physical abuse at all. So there was no physical abuse, but I was really just set to raise myself. So that's what I did. I basically raised myself. I learned how to entertain myself. I learned how to figure out what to eat for myself. Just all of those things, And I'm just going to focus on moms here because I had Googled up many videos to try to find other people that were in my situation because you didn't hear about it a whole lot. Now you hear more, but because especially around Mother's Day, you see all those memes online, and then of course you see all of the greeting cards where it's like you only have one mother, and and the greeting cards say, you're the best mom, and you did everything for us, and number one mom, and all this other kind of stuff. And there's a lady that I follow here on YouTube. She goes by the screen name of But She's Your Mother, and she's awesome. I'm going to link her below if you just happen to stumble upon my video, and you also have issues, with a mother, a narcissistic mother, or things like that. She's really awesome. And it was funny because I was talking to my husband the same thing that she addressed in a video. I think it was like last week. And I remember how Mother's Day would be rolling around. And of course, you have to buy your mom, a present, a car, whatever. You have to acknowledge, your mother for Mother's Day. And I would be in the store looking at these greeting cards and reading them, and just in my heart, I'm like, no, I can't say this to her. I can't say that. Like, I'd be lying. Like, it hurt my soul. I'm like, I can't say all this stuff to her. So I would try to find the most basic card that would just be like, Happy Mother's Day, like, hope you enjoy your day type of thing. And like, those would be the cards. But I would always try to please her, and especially as I got older and I started having, more resources to get things for her, I would buy, oh my goodness, not that material things is a lot of things, is everything. I know it's not, but we would just send, I don't know, computer, laptop, recliner chairs, I don't know, just different things. And I was always just hoping for the, just the acknowledgement, like, oh, wow, Bobby, like, thank you. I love giving gifts to people, that appreciate. But no, I never really got that from her, because at the end of the day, and this is a whole story in itself, but, me and my mom she was never motherly, so we never had that. I don't understand what it's like when people say, my mother's my best friend, and your mother will drop her life for you. Me and my daughter, thank God, had that relationship. Me and my mother never did. There was just, almost to the point where, and looking back, because you know how when you're a child and you're growing up in it, you don't really see it. You just kind of go through the motions. But of course, the older that you get, and then you raise children yourself and you see how it should be, and then you look back and you're just like, wow, my mother didn't even like me. Like, it's sad but true. But you know, my mother didn't even like me. And so fast forward a few years ago, this is when we were still living in Florida. My mom was still living in North Carolina, in the eastern coast of North Carolina. That's where I used to live. So she had moved on from my father many years ago. She was remarried. Her husband had passed many years ago. But she, you know, she was one of those independent, staying, you know, she wants to be by herself. We urged her and urged her and urged her, you know, you should come out of there, you should come stay with us, you should, you know, but it was always no, 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 no. And I know why she was saying no, because she doesn't like me. She, you know, she didn't want to stay with me at all, you know, so she didn't even want to come visit me. She didn't even come to my wedding. It's just a lot. But, so finally, a couple years ago, she did have a health concern. And she is older now. I believe she's 81 or 82 now. But this is going back a few years ago, so she did have a health concern. And you know how it is when people have health concerns, or if all of a sudden they're shocked into something. I believe that at that point she almost felt forced to listen to us finally. So we got her to agree to come and live with me and my husband. And, you know, this is when I had already, it was just maybe 3 years ago. This is when I had already, you know, really, considered myself a Christian at that point, you know, really following the Lord and going to church and, you know, doing all those things. And again, I felt like, you know, this is my mom. I have a brother who's 10 years older than me, and that's a whole story. I'm not quite sure where he is. My mom pretty much disowned him many years ago. I don't even know if she tells people she has a son, to be honest. She's very hard-hearted. Very hard-hearted. But anyway, so basically, I'm an only child. There's no one else. You know, she doesn't have any sisters, anyone. So my husband, bless his heart, he's all about family, you know, and he's just like, yeah, you know, if it is what it is, we have to do it. We went, we got her, we brought her back to Florida, and it lasted 6 weeks. And in those 6 weeks, we were trying so hard, gave her her own space, and she bought her cat, and you know, my husband painted the room whatever color we tried. We really, really wanted to make it work, and we tried, but I believe the Lord had me to do that, because during that period my eyes were really open as far as just, it's sad to say that a mother would dislike their child so much, but you could really see just the hatred that she has for me. My husband was shocked by it. He just never seen anything like that, and he saw it. He 100% saw it. My daughter saw it. You know, this video is getting long, but there's a lot of different stories and things, you know, with it. But at that point, I made a decision because she acted like we were holding her hostage, basically, is how she was acting. So I made a conscious decision to, you know, just because I am a blood relative, you know, I don't have to take that responsibility, especially if she is going to be in my home being very ugly, trying to break up my marriage, very evil. I can't. So we ended up taking her back to her home in North Carolina, and I have not spoken with her since. With that said, she had never looked for me either. So, yeah. So, this time of year, Mother's Day, unless you've been through a situation like that, people will say, well, how's your mom? Are you going to go see your mom, for Mother's Day? And I think the people who are saying that is because probably, I don't know, I hope that the percentage is very low for people who, have mothers that didn't want to be a mother, and never wanted to be a mother. I hope the percent is low, and that's why I think it's such a stigma, because most people don't have that. Most people had great moms, and so they don't understand how could one have a mother and not, want to speak to that family member. But I struggled, especially, being that I am a Christian. Honor your mother and your father. Honor your mother and your father. But, seeking counsel and things like that from Christians, honoring is one thing. You don't wish bad. You don't yell at a person. You don't disrespect the person. And you keep on praying for that person. That's honoring. But you don't really have to be abused, even if that person is your mom. And this is one of the passages that I was told to look at. So I'm going to read it to you guys. Oh, and I'm going to take a separate video of my new Bible. So I am loving it. It's this one. Here. Take a thumbnail time. But yeah, it's this one, and she is nice and big and heavy, and I love it because you have your scripture on the top, and then it explains things on the bottom. So this is Ephesians 6, and it says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, and thou may live long on the earth." And then, a lot of people don't talk about the next verse, which is, "And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord." And then they break it down for you on the bottom. That's why I like this Bible. So it says, there is a difference between obeying and honoring. To obey means to do as one is told. To honor means to respect and love. Children are not commanded to disobey God in obeying their parents. Adult children are not asked to be subservient to domineering or abusive parents. Children should obey while under their parents' care, but continue to honor their parents for life. So that's pretty much what I decided to do, is to honor her from afar, just for my own mental health, because it didn't make sense to where I would be thinking in my head, okay, I have to call my mother. And after the phone call, just feeling horrible about that phone call, getting migraines, getting physically sick. I just, and you wouldn't take that abuse from anyone. If your friend was treating you that way, or if a neighbor was treating you that way, or if a person from work was treating you that way, you would never allow that. You would never allow somebody to come into your house and lie and, act that way. So, mother, yes, yes, they give birth to you. That is your mother, but there's a fine line, There's a beautiful red cardinal right there. So pretty. I don't know. It flew back there. But yeah. So that is what my Mother's Day thoughts are. But I totally get it because my father, even with his faults, he has passed away now. He was not perfect. He was not a Christian. None of those. But he loved me. He loved me. And he loved my children. And so I do understand that the love of the parent. I took care of him until he passed away. And Father's Day was fun. Picking out those cards and giving him the presents and all that. I understand because we had that connection, but not me and my mother. And I do long for, I wish that I did have that person to go to for advice and how do I cook this or what do I do? My child is sick and but anyway, I've been talking, I think, for a long time, so I'm going to cut this short now. But for everybody who is a mother, has a mother, a great mom, is celebrating Mother's Day weekend, I hope you really, truly have a blessed, peaceful weekend. I hope you are pampered. And if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for coming. Please like, share, subscribe, come back, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.